There's been some rumors about the Denver Broncos and maybe their plans with Melvin Gordon. And often at times we've seen some of these rumors come out from unverified sources. We've also seen them come out from outlets that maybe saw something in an article and wanted to run it for a clickbait headline. But the reality of the situation is Melvin Gordon has been brought up in these conversations about maybe being potentially traded to a team. The Los Angeles Rams had an injury the other day with Cam Akers tearing his Achilles, and immediately you start to see some speculative reports that the Broncos could trade Melvin Gordon to the Rams. That's not the case. The Los Angeles Rams will more than likely look in free agency first. Some guys available. Adrian Peterson's still a free agent option there before they maybe even look into a trade. And if they were, it wouldn't be Melvin Gordon because the Broncos are not interested in dealing him. According to Benjamin Albright, KOA, Broncos insider at iHeartRadio had said and reported that Royce Freeman is on the trading block for the Broncos and that Melvin Gordon is the penciled-in starter for the 2021 NFL season. Gordon is slated to make around $6.9 million upcoming here in 2021, and it wouldn't make sense from a financial standpoint or a salary cap standpoint for the Broncos to trade or to release him. He is going to be the Broncos starter this year at running back, maybe to begin the season, but then Javonte Williams, Mike Boone could potentially overtake him at some point of the season here. But I do want to look here at Melvin Gordon. I do think that he has been often underappreciated in his little stint here in Denver. I understand that there was a lot of negativity and disdain towards Gordon simply because fan favorite Phillip Lindsay was on the Broncos roster. And there were certain things to Melvin's game that frustrated some fans. And look, I understand that he absolutely has to clean up some of the fumble issues that he has had, not just last year, but stating over the course of his career. This is a big year for Melvin Gordon because he's essentially trying to audition for another contract. Could it be with the Denver Broncos? Possibly. But more than likely, I'd say that with the writing on the wall of them drafting Javonte Williams, having Mike Boone on a 2-year deal, the Broncos are looking at every option, and there might be a chance that maybe Melvin Gordon is not in the Broncos' plans post 2021. But the expectation for him right now is that he will be the starting running back for the Broncos week 1 against the New York Giants. And we'll see a little bit of a healthy dose and sprinkle in of Mike Boone and Javonte Williams. And all eyes are on Javonte Williams, who we've really hyped up and talked about on this podcast. Candace Cooper, host of the Locked On ACC podcast, had raving things to say about Pookie Williams and his ability to run hard in between the tackles, contribute as a route runner and as a receiver, and not to mention can pick up blocks. So the Broncos will work him in early and often throughout training camp once he signs his contract. We're going to get to that bit a little bit later, but the expectations, I think, are high for Javonte Williams. And I think it's easy for many people, specifically people that maybe don't cover the Denver Broncos or don't pay too much attention to the Broncos and what they're doing, to look at what they did in the NFL draft in round 2. Okay, well, they went and they drafted a running back. That means that, Melvin Gordon's time is up in Denver, potentially. All options are still on the table here, and a lot of this has to determine with Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur calls a lot of the shots for the Broncos offense, and I think that's something that not many people really take into consideration. Yes, George Paton is the general manager. He has the ultimate say in things, but George Paton also leans on his coaches. He leans on Vic Fangio as a DC, Ed Donatel. He leans on Pat Shurmur as the offensive coordinator, and rightfully so. A good general manager will do that, and a general manager will listen to his offensive coordinator, and he'll say, hey, here's what I need. And so George Paton, from that standpoint, based on what Pat Shurmur needs, he's going to go out and he's going to provide Pat Shurmur with anything and everything that he needs to ensure that the Broncos offense is successful here in 2021. And if the Broncos offensive coaches, if Pat Shurmur can't execute it and that offense can't take the next step this upcoming season, well, more than likely we will see the departure of Pat Shurmur after 2021. But the hope and the optimism is that the Broncos can take that next step, that they can increase their total points per game, and then they can be a dominant offense. Now, then again, the NFL changes ever so often, and so you have to really keep things into perspective. The Broncos on paper right now offensively, you look at them all across the board. They are improved at almost every offensive position. And yes, the big fat question mark lies on the quarterback position. The expectations for Drew Lock, if he is going to be the guy, they are extremely high for the Broncos this season. Teddy Bridgewater, I think that the expectations for him is that he's going to be the backup. I know that's the expectation that I initially had in my analysis and my thought when the Broncos had traded for him. I felt truly, okay, well, he's coming in to compete as a backup and be a veteran guy, because if in fact he can't win a quarterback competition, he will be good for Brett Rippon. He will be good for Drew Lock. Right now, everything is up in the air because there is an ongoing open quarterback competition. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that when you look at the Broncos offense, quarterback's a big question. But the biggest question to me is, can the Broncos run the ball efficiently this upcoming season? Can they find a way to run the ball consistently more to the left side, to the right side, specifically on the inside? The Broncos' most successful runs last year often at times were on the outside because you had pulling guards, pulling tackles, pulling centers, and you were able to seal guys off with an extra tight end or a wide receiver that was coming in and taking the appropriate angle on the outside shoulder to force the linebacker or trailing backside safety to try to go underneath it. Taking angles is what's going to really break the Broncos' offensive rushing attack open. And I think that with Melvin Gordon fully healthy, if he can maintain what he was doing a little bit down the stretch last season for the Broncos, and if Javonte Williams can explode onto the scene, I think that the expectation is that I have, and that many Broncos fans themselves have, I think that the Broncos rushing attack will be a very, very prominent part of the National Football League. The potential is there. And then that opens up so many more opportunities in the passing game off of play action, where in terms of play action, Drew Lock is very efficient. He's got one of the best passer ratings in the NFL last season off of play action. So can the Broncos get him going to things that he's a little bit more comfortable with rather than being just a traditional pocket passing quarterback out of the shotgun? You have to have the element. And Drew and Teddy, they have to have that. But play action is also where it's at right now in the current landscape of the National Football League. And that is a big question here for the Denver Broncos coming into the 2021 NFL season.